Captain James T. Kirk, William Shatner, and Spock are touchingly reunited in a new Star Trek short film titled 765,854 Unification, 30 years after Kirk died in Star Trek Generations. The Roddenberry Archive and Otoy, in association with Paramount, released Unification on November 18, 2024, to commemorate the 30-year anniversary of the premiere of Star Trek Generations. The 8-minute Unification is the fourth short film by Otoy available at the Roddenberry Archive, roddenberry.x.io, via the Apple Vision Pro app. Star Trek Generations saw Captain James T. Kirk sacrifice his life when he teamed up with Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart, to stop Dr. Tolian Saran, Malcolm McDowell, from destroying the planet Viridian 3. In 2016, Star Trek Beyond included the canonical death of Spock after Leonard Nimoy passed away the prior year. Shatner's Kirk and Nimoy's Spock never shared the screen again after 1991 Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Unification gives Kirk and Spock one last touching moment together. Watch the short film below. 765,874 Unification crosses Star Trek timelines and universes to bring Captain Kirk and Spock together once more. The death of Captain Kirk in Star Trek Generations canonically takes place in 2371, and Ambassador Spock is shunted into the alternate Kelvin timeline of J.J. Abrams' Star Trek 2009 movie in 2387, when the Vulcan failed to prevent the Romulan star from going supernova. Spock arrived in the Kelvin timeline in 2258, and he lived on New Vulcan until his death in 2263. Before Unification, circumstances made it impossible for Kirk and Picard to meet. After all, Star Trek Generations explained that Captain Kirk was believed dead in 2293, but he actually survived in the interdimensional space ribbon called the Nexus until he leaves with Captain Picard in 2371, which resulted in his death. Spock never saw the Prime Timeline's Kirk again after 2293, and the Vulcan was not present to see his best friend's brief foray in death in the 24th century. Unification shows a resurrected Captain Kirk traveling into J.J. Abrams' Star Trek Kelvin timeline to see Spock, played by Lawrence Selleck, on his deathbed on New Vulcan. Kirk and Spock then share a moment Star Trek canon has denied them, as the iconic duo face the horizon together. Unification is a powerful and emotional testament to the friendship between Kirk and Spock that Star Trek is built upon. Unification incorporates multiple aspects of Star Trek continuity, and there is a lot to absorb. Along with the resurrected Captain Kirk, Unification includes Spock, Saavik, Robin Curtis, Gary Mitchell, Gary Lockwood, who was Kirk's friend turned enemy in Star Trek, the original series' second pilot, Where No Man Has Gone Before, J.M. Colt, Mahee Thasia, from Star Trek's original pilot, The Cage. Jorg Hillebrand, a renowned researcher on Star Trek, Picard Season 3, broke down Unification on his X account at Gagyogi49. Amazingly, the resurrected Captain Kirk reunites with Saavik and her son with Spock, Sarah, Mark Sinery. Kirk then meets Yor, Garden Tarpley, a time soldier from the Kelvin timeline introduced in Star Trek Discovery Season 3. Yor gives Kirk the means to cross into the Kelvin timeline. After meeting his younger selves, Captain Kirk and Admiral Kirk, Jim steps into Spock's chambers on New Vulcan to be with his beloved Vulcan friend. Production designer Dave Blass confirmed on X that Kirk travels into the Kelvin timeline. Unification is an astounding technical achievement and a labor of love to celebrate the iconic Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and the 30th anniversary of Star Trek Generations. William Shatner and Susan Bay Nimoy served as executive producers. Working with Otoy, Mr. Shatner helped ensure the technical and creative accuracy of Captain Kirk. Sam Witwer performed the role of Kirk in costume. Witwer studied and mimicked Shatner's exact movements, aided by physical and digital prosthetics. Lawrence Selig did the same to recreate Spock. Otoy and VFX Studios combined digital and physical prosthetics to recreate iconic Star Trek characters, with live-action location photography, virtual production, and CG set extensions to create the vistas of Veridian 3, New Vulcan, and other locations seen in Unification. In addition to Michael and Denise Okuda and Dave Blass from Star Trek Picard Season 2 and 3's work on production design, Academy Award-winning Star Trek composer Michael Giacchino provided Unification's score.